Aintree Motor Racing Circuit is a 3.00 miles, 4.828 kilometers, motor racing circuit in the village of Aintree, Metropolitan Borough of Sefton, Merseyside, England. The circuit is located within the Aintree Racecourse and used the same grandstands as horse racing. It was built in 1954 as the Goodwood of the North, hence the fact the two venues had so many things in common. The track was well surfaced and relatively flat, ranging from 49 to 98 feet, 15 to 30 meters, in elevation. The circuit has hosted the Formula One British Grand Prix 5 times, in 1955, 1957, 1959, 1961 and 1962. In addition to the Grand Prix, which were organised by the British Automobile Racing Club, the circuit also held 11 non-championship Formula One races, known as the Aintree 200, first won by Sterling Moss in 1954 with the last winner being Jack Brabham. In April 1964, Brabham had made his Formula One debut at the circuit in the 1955 British GP. Aintree was the location for the famous race in 1955 in which Moss won his first British Grand Prix, driving a Mercedes. 2 years later, he and Tony Brooks became the first British drivers to win both the British Grand Prix and a round of the Formula One World Championship whilst driving a British car, a Vanwall. The 1957 Grand Prix was also given the honorific European Grand Prix title and was the premier Formula One event of the season, attracting 150,000 spectators. The full Grand Prix circuit was last raced on in 1964, but part of it, the 1.535 miles, 2.470 kilometers, club circuit, is still open, having been operated by the Aintree Circuit Club from the mid-1960s to the late 1990s. In the 1980s the 108 Car Club, Helens, brought rallying back to Aintree Circuit, revitalizing the circuit's use with new and innovative ideas. A limited amount of motorsport continues today in the form of car sprints, track days and motorcycle racing on the club circuit. The first car we will be driving is the Ford Capri RS 3100. Although defeated, Ford was unwilling to give up its crown without a fight and, with this in mind, production of a further uprated Capri RS was given green light on September 25, 1973. As per the CSL Batmobile, this latest iteration of the Capri RS would exploit the Group 2 regulations that permitted a tranche of updates to the racing version so long as at least 100 Evolution-type cars that contained said improvements had been produced. Like its BMW counterpart, the resultant Capri RS 310 ushered in a distinctive spoiler kit and a larger engine that would enable the competition version to run the most powerful engines possible in the over 3-litre class. Much of the RS 3100's other equipment was imported from the outgoing RS 2600. Although only 100 examples of the RS 3100 were required for homologation, Ford commissioned a batch of 250 cars. Whereas the RS 2600, which was offered exclusively in left-hand drive and built at the Neal plant in Germany. The RS 3100 was constructed at Ford's Halewood factory with the entire production run completed in right-hand drive. This was done to satisfy the UK market, which had never been offered the original Rally Sport Capri. Ford expected all 250 cars to be completed between November and December of 1973. Ford UK announced the RS 3100's availability in early November with a series of publicity photos that starred recently retired 3-time F1 world champion and Ford ambassador, Jackie Stewart. The new model would be sold through the firm's RS dealerships and was priced at a substantial premium over the otherwise range-topping 3000 GXL. Group 2 homologation was approved on March 2, 1974. Now let's listen to some engine noises. The second car we are driving today is the Eagle T1G. Eagle Mk1, commonly referred to as the Eagle T1G, was a Formula One racing car, designed by Len Terry for Dan Gurney's Anglo-American Races team. The Eagle, introduced for the start of the 1966 Formula One season, is often regarded as being one of the most beautiful Grand Prix cars ever raced at the top levels of international motorsport. Initially appearing with a 2.7L Coventry Climax inline four-cylinder engine, the car was designed around a 3.0L Gurney Westlake V12 which was introduced after its first 4 races. In the hands of team boss Gurney, the Eagle Westlake won the 1967 Belgian Grand Prix, making Dan Gurney only the second driver at the time, and one of only 3 to date, to win a Formula One Grand Prix in a car of their own construction. Excluding the Indianapolis 500, that win in Belgium still stands as the only win for a USA-built car as well as one of only 2 wins of an American licensed constructor in Formula 1. 2, 3. It was also the first win for an American constructor in a Grand Prix race since the Jimmy Murphy's triumph with Duesenberg at the 1921 French Grand Prix. A highly successful motor racing driver in many disciplines, Dan Gurney had been driving in Formula 1 since the late 1950s. While driving for the Brabham Works team, he joined with a group of prominent motor racing figures and financial backers in the United States, including Carroll Shelby, to found All-American Races. This effort was largely backed by the Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company, in an effort to challenge Firestone's longtime dominance of American open-wheel racing. Inspired by the performance of Jack Brabham and Bruce McLaren's own teams, R decided to enter Grand Prix racing. Then as now, the main engineering hub for Formula One manufacturers was in the United Kingdom, so R set up a subsidiary team known as Anglo-American Races which, while registered in the USA, was based in Rye, East Sussex, UK and named in deference to the car's British Westlake engines. The cars were built in Santa Ana, California, USA by the All-American Races team. Now let's listen to some engine noises. The third car we are driving today is the legendary Ford Escort. The Ford Anglia was a tough act to follow. Styling-wise, Ford played it safe, ditching the reverse-rake rear window, covered headlights and fin-like rear wings in favor of something more conservative, albeit with a classic Coke bottle design. The small car that isn't, said Ford, a reference to the clever interior packaging and compact dimensions. 4 versions were available at launch: Deluxe, Super, Super 1300cc and GT. It wasn't long before the Escort was displaying its performance credentials. Development of the Escort twin cam began in 1967, with prototypes sent to Bagshot in Surrey for rough road testing. It made its competitive debut at Croft in February 1968, with Roger Clark, Tony Chappell and Barry Lee piloting the twin-cam to 4 race wins. This was one of the era's greatest Q cars, featuring a modified Lotus engine and a strengthened body shell, and it spawned countless fast escorts of the future. Away from the track, the boys in blue were big fans of the blue-collar hero. Ford announced a deal to supply the police with 200 escort Panda cars, with PC Loveless commenting, "I was impressed with the size and space for the occasional passengers." It was a huge success, but what did contemporary road testers think of the Ford Escort? "The new Escort is undoubtedly a big step forward from the Anglia for Ford," said Autocar. "They have allocated their costs in a rational way to produce a car which offers good value and a much safer performance than its predecessor." The reviewer also expressed his disappointment over the styling, but predicted that it would become a strong force to reckon with. How right he was. Now let's listen to some engine noises.